The following segment uncovers a spine-chilling symmetry. We expose a series of startling shark attacks, incidents that defy the odds by happening just days apart. From the peaceful resorts of Egypt's Red Sea to the vast ocean expanses worldwide. Hit that like and subscribe button if you're new. You're watching When Sharks Attack. Looking forward to a day of fun and adventure, two friends, Omar Conger and Chris Rem, decided to dive off the coast of Santa Cruz, California on one fateful September morning. They were experienced divers, well acquainted with the ocean's allure and potential dangers. But on this day they would come face to face with a terror they hadn't anticipated. A great white shark on the hunt lurked beneath the waves, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. This is the harrowing true story of Omar Conger's deadly encounter with one of our ocean's most formidable predators. The Pigeon Point Lighthouse, situated on a cliff on the central California coast, ranks among the highest lighthouses in America. Named after the clipper ship carrier Pigeon that tragically ran aground near the point in 1853, the lighthouse has ever since been a beacon for sailors and a landmark for travelers, its beacon casting light out into the Pacific for over a century. The waters surrounding it are part of the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, a federally protected area that hosts a rich diversity of marine life. This expansive sanctuary extends along the central California coast. It covers an impressive 276 miles of shoreline as well as 6,094 square miles of ocean, stretching from Marin to Cambria. Being one of the largest marine sanctuaries in the United States, it's a haven for a variety of different species, from microscopic plankton to the majestic blue whale. Vibrant kelp forests, deep-sea canyons, and wide, sandy seafloors offer diverse habitats for creatures to thrive, which is why it's also home to many species of fish, seabirds, and marine mammals, including seals, sea otters, and dolphins. The sanctuary also provides perfect conditions for the great white shark, known for its preference for cooler waters rich with marine mammals, which is of course their primary food source. These conditions make the waters around the sanctuary a prime habitat for these formidable apex predators, adding an element of risk to any human activity conducted within its domain. On the overcast morning of September 15, 1984, Omar Conger and Chris Rem geared up for a dive in the waters off Pigeon Point, a picturesque location nestled between Half Moon Bay and Santa Cruz, California. The sea was calm, but visibility was low, less than a meter in fact due to overcast conditions. Unperturbed, the pair slipped into their black wetsuits and readied themselves for another adventure beneath the Pacific waves. They would choose a spot about 150 meters from shore, a depth of 2 fathoms known for its rocky ocean floor, a world cloaked with short kelps and seagrasses. They would plunge into the water around 8:30, eager to explore the depths they had come to know so well. Despite the murky visibility, they navigated smoothly through the underwater landscape, weaving among the seagrasses that punctuated the ocean floor. However, they were not alone. Lurking in the depths, unnoticed, was a great white shark. Just as they were wrapping up their dive, the calm beneath the waves was shattered, and without warning, a great white shark would strike Omar with devastating force, launching him into the air. Chris, helplessly watching, saw his friend violently thrown from the water and disappearing beneath the tumultuous waves. Summoning his courage, Chris dove back into the water, reaching his injured friend and pulling him onto the boat. He fought desperately to keep Omar alive, but the severe wounds he'd sustained were insurmountable. After recovering from the initial shock and realizing that there was nothing he could do to save his friend, Chris would journey back to town and report the incident to local authorities, who responded immediately and would launch an extensive investigation. The San Mateo County coroner would later confirm that the cause of death was exsanguination as the result of multiple shark bites. Omar's injuries painted a grim picture. Numerous lacerations to the dorsal and palmar surfaces of his hands, as well as his fingers and wrists, ranging from 5 to 15 centimeters in length. This coupled with numerous cuts on both posterior thighs and buttocks. And to top things off, the femoral vessels on both thighs had been severed. The nature of these injuries suggested that the shark had initially grabbed Omar by the thighs, pulling him underwater, and the injuries to his hands were likely inflicted as he valiantly tried to fight off the shark. Wound measurements would later suggest that a white shark, approximately 4.5 to 5 meters in length, was the species responsible for the attack. In an instant, Chris and Omar's adventurous morning had transformed into a chilling nightmare, a poignant reminder of nature's unanticipated ferocity. The Coast Guard and local law enforcement alerted the public about the shark attack, advising swimmers, surfers, and divers to avoid the waters near Pigeon Point Lighthouse until further notice. In the days following the attack, marine biologists and shark experts were brought in for further investigation and analysis. They conducted surveys in an attempt to locate the great white, and were also certain that this was the species responsible based on the nature of the attack as well as the severity of Omar's injuries. In the wake of Omar's untimely demise, a chilling pattern emerged. His tragic encounter was not an isolated incident, but was the lone fatal one out of 4 shark attacks that occurred off the Pacific coast of the United States over a 15-day span in 1984. The sudden spike in great white shark activity would send shockwaves through the local community and beyond, transforming their perception of the ocean from a realm of fun and adventure into a theater of unexpected danger. The impact of these changes would most strongly be felt near Pigeon Point, where the attack on Omar had taken place. Warning signs cropped up in the vicinity, serving as stark reminders of the tragedy that had unfolded. One such sign stood at a nearby youth hostel, its bold letters declaring, "Do not go in the water. A diver was killed by a great white shark a half-mile from here." This ominous warning, posted by the hostel's manager Anna Goldberg, was a testament to the profound impact of Omar's death. "I used to wade out there, but I'm not going to now." These words would echo the sentiments of many who felt their relationship with the ocean shift literally overnight from reverence and joy to caution and fear. In the days and weeks following the incidents, sightings of great white shark off the Golden Gate increased, and it was the presence of a large number of elephant seals about 5 miles south of Pigeon Point that was believed to be the drawing force that attracted them closer to the shore. In 2022, the serene beauty of Egypt's Red Sea resorts was tainted by a chilling string of fatal shark attacks, resulting in the deaths of 2 women. One victim was 68-year-old Austrian Elizabeth Sauer, whose horrific encounter with a Mako shark was caught in graphic video footage. This disturbing incident and its aftermath were an ominous prelude to a much more recent tragedy which occurred just a mere 48 hours ago. Footage from various sources revealed the horror behind a tragic death. A 23-year-old man who had been swimming close ashore at the Dream Beach Resort in Hurghada, Egypt, before being brutally attacked by a large tiger shark in front of multiple eyewitnesses. An event that has gone on to take the world by storm. But recently many questions have arisen as to whether this rise in shark aggression in these regions of the Red Sea is merely a coincidental phenomenon, or whether these instances are part of a concerning pattern that seems to be taking shape. On a fateful day in July 2022, Elizabeth Sauer, a longtime resident of Egypt, was swimming near the popular tourist area of Sal Hashish when suddenly a Mako shark attacked her, brutally tearing off one of her arms and a leg. As one horrified witness recounted, "She's got no arm up to her elbow. The shark grabbed her and twisted her around." Sauer's desperate struggle to escape was captured in heart-wrenching video footage. She then swam towards the shore, with bystanders throwing her a flotation device amid a rapidly spreading cloud of blood. The witness continued, "Where are the rescuers? She's covered in blood." An echo of the sheer panic and terror of the moment. The lack of lifeguards during this terrifying event prompted bitter complaints from horrified onlookers, and despite the best efforts of those who tried to resuscitate her, Sauer's injuries would prove too severe, and after being rushed to a local hospital, she would tragically pass away. In a tragic twist of fate, a Romanian woman in her 40s would then meet a similar end on the same day, just hours later. Her mutilated body being found less than a half-mile from where Sauer was attacked, and her identity would remain anonymous. In response to these horrifying incidents, Red Sea Governor Amr Hanafi ordered a 3-day closure of all beaches in the area. What's concerning is that the sequence of these fatal attacks is not an isolated occurrence in the region. In fact, over recent years, the frequency of shark attacks in the area has seen a worrying increase. In 2020, a 12-year-old Ukrainian boy tragically lost an arm and a leg in a shark attack. And in 2018 and 2015, a Czech and German tourist lost their lives in similar incidents. And in what is perhaps the most curious illustration of this disturbing trend, the Egypt shark attacks of 2010 stand out. The once vibrant Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh was gripped in fear after an unprecedented series of 5 shark attacks occurred over 5 days. The tranquil waters, known for their abundance of exotic fish and stunning coral formations, were left eerily undisturbed, their allure overshadowed by the unfolding events. The air was heavy with palpable dread, with tourists warily patrolling the water's edge or seeking solace in beachside bars. Nina Dzynsky, who was vacationing then, recalls the chaos that ensued as shouts of "Shark! Shark!" in Russian punctured the serene ambience. She was emerging from the water when the first attack happened. Her husband Yaroslav, who was still in the water, described a frantic scramble for safety. Muhammad Rashad, a barman at a nearby beach restaurant, had described bearing witness to the horrifying sight of a man running from the sea, his leg gushing blood. These attacks, so close to shore, sparked widespread fear and a rapid beach evacuation. In fact, many beachgoers, traumatized by the bloody scenes, would go on to pledge never to return to Sharm el-Sheikh. It wasn't long before authorities sprang into action, closing Sharm el-Sheikh's beaches and setting out to track and capture the shark, which was later identified to be an oceanic whitetip. However, the measures taken by the authorities, including the capturing and killing of 2 sharks, did little to lessen the fear that had settled among the tourists. Now, despite the inherent risks of venturing into the water, unfortunately only some of these people were deterred. Beachgoer Denise Rhodes had refused to let the incident ruin their vacation, and was a firm believer in accepting her fate as it was written, no matter what was in store. However, many more were cautious, their confidence rattled by the gruesome incident. This divergence in perspectives raises an important question. How much risk is acceptable when interacting with wild nature, and how can it be mitigated? And of course, as mentioned in the beginning of the video, and as many of you may know, the cruel twist of fate struck again in 2023, just days ago, when 23-year-old Vladimir Popov fell victim to a fatal tiger shark attack. The echoes of these past tragedies, including the most recent one, reverberate ominously, underscoring an urgent need for enhancing safety measures and in-depth investigation into patterns of shark behavior in the Red Sea. As we trace the chilling string of fatal shark attacks in Egypt's Red Sea from 2022 and the most recent one in 2023, these incidences' striking similarities and shared locations prompt us to question whether these tragic encounters are somehow intertwined. It's conceivable that changes in the marine ecosystem or increased human activity in shark habitats could be sparking this increased aggression in these oceanic predators. The attacks could be a result of shifts in food availability, changes in water temperature, or even pollution levels that might impact shark behavior. And another possibility, albeit less likely, is the involvement of the same shark or group of sharks in multiple incidents. In other words, man-eaters. Christian Parton of the YouTube channel Shark Bites, who's also a shark scientist, offers a unique perspective on the situation, diving deeper into why the tiger shark in question might have been particularly aggressive. He cleverly points to factors such as changes in water temperature and others that might have led to the shark being hungrier than usual.
Tiger sharks in the Red Sea reportedly begin to move into shallower waters because of their mating season, which supposedly runs between the months of April and July. But what's also happening during those months is turtle nesting season. There's no question about it, the sharks will be following the turtles. And as those turtles move towards the beaches to lay their eggs, the tiger sharks will follow them in from the deeper water into the shallow waters. The second thing that we need to point out here, which is a really interesting one, is the ocean topography of the area. Generally, just a few meters off the shore, you can have these amazing tropical reefs that stay in the shallower waters, but then very quickly, they steeply drop off into deeper water. So in these locations, you can find yourself swimming in shallow waters or snorkeling on the reef, and then really quickly, it's going to drop off significantly to deep water. And sometimes these drop-offs occur maybe only 20 or 30 meters off the shore. And it's this topography that means that shark species that might normally be patrolling the deeper waters find themselves in shallower waters relatively easily. And this is the case for all of the species of shark that have been reported to have bitten people within that area. The third thing that I'm going to throw in now is water temperature. Right now in Hurghada, you're getting an average sea surface temperature of around 27 degrees Celsius. Based on scientific studies, ambient water temperature can directly have an impact on shark metabolism, i.e. water temperature goes up, shark metabolism goes up. And this factor then increases the need for a shark to consume more food.
Considering these various factors, it's impossible to overlook the potential role of beach resort management in mitigating and preventing such tragic attacks in the future. And while it would be premature to make definitive claims, there's clearly a significant need to sift through the effectiveness of warning systems, the adequacy of emergency response protocols, and the level of education provided to beachgoers regarding potential shark hazards. By doing this, they would create safer environments for locals and tourists in Egypt's Red Sea resorts by approaching these aspects with a critical eye and a commitment to improvement. The current ongoing investigation aims to address any shortcomings to ensure the well-being and security of all who enjoy the beauty of these coastal destinations. It's important that I note, however, that these are merely conjectures that warrant robust scientific investigations to validate. First, understanding the potential connections in these patterns is vital in solving this unnerving enigma and is also crucial for preventing shark attacks from occurring in the future. In the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean, a single week in July 1975 would prove to be one of the rarest and most harrowing periods in the history of known shark encounters. Within a span of just 5 days, two separate divers, Gary Johnson and Rob Repstock, would experience the sheer terror of coming face to face with one of our ocean's most formidable predators, the great white shark. These chilling attacks, taking place mere kilometers apart, would not only become an enduring symbol of the unpredictability and power of the ocean, but also present a series of inexplicable coincidences that would captivate and puzzle shark experts for decades. You're watching When Sharks Attack. When it comes to shark attacks, throughout the 1900s, a number of studies found that divers were at most risk when compared to other groups, such as surfers, swimmers, and kayakers. In fact, out of 108 recorded unprovoked shark attacks along the Pacific coast of North America, 50 of them, or 46%, involved individuals engaged in diving. In 90% of these instances, or 45 out of the 50 cases analyzed, the great white was identified as the species responsible for these attacks. On the morning of Saturday, July 19, 1975, 34-year-old commercial abalone diver Gary Johnson would embark on a diving trip off the coast of California. The seasoned diver was equipped with his black wetsuit, hood, boots, swim fins, and a mask featuring a stainless steel rim. Along with his net basket and a gray aluminum abalone iron, Johnson utilized the hookah line with a regulator for his air supply. As he entered the water, Johnson observed several harbor seals basking on a rock formation nearby. Unbeknownst to him, the presence of these seals had already attracted a massive great white shark. As Johnson began his dive around 400 to 450 meters away from the shore, he would within minutes begin prying abalone from the underside of a ledge, which is when he suddenly felt something seize his right swim fin and begin to shake it vigorously. An alarmed Johnson would then turn to face the source of the disturbance, an enormous great white shark. Great white sharks are known to rely on their keen sense of vision to locate prey, and they usually do this in murky water, which is why it's likely that this shark mistook him for a seal and launched an attack. The shark then released Johnson's fin and would begin circling him, getting menacingly close several times before disappearing in the murky depths. For several agonizing moments, Johnson spun around, desperately trying to maintain sight of the shark. The shark would then return and make 5 more passes, each time coming dangerously close to Johnson, but to his good fortune, it would lose interest and leave him unharmed, though his swim fin did bore 5 thin slices on its upper and lower surfaces. Although Johnson would survive the horrifying encounter, the encounter with what he estimated to be a 5 to 6 meter long great white shark would forever be etched in Johnson's memory. Just 5 days later, on July 23, 1975, the sun shone brightly as sports scuba diver Robert Repstock and his companions, his brother Scott, Jeff Morris, and Tom Hesselbens, set out for an adventure dive at Point Conception. With excitement in the air, little did they know of the life-changing event that lay ahead. As the group anchored their boat just 10 meters south of Perch Rock, they prepared their equipment, their anticipation for their dive growing with each passing moment. Repstock, clad in a black wetsuit, green swim fins, and carrying a yellow pole spear, entered the water with a backward roll. The ocean surface seemed serene to him, giving no hint of the lurking danger just meters away. As Repstock resurfaced, he trod water for a few moments while his companions handed him additional gear. But within a minute, everything changed. A massive white shark, estimated to be 5 to 6 meters long, would suddenly emerge from the depths of the murky waters. It's important to note that on the same day, Robert Repstock and his crew had actually run into Gary Johnson before boarding their boat. Johnson would warn them about the shark that attacked them just a few days prior. The crew, of course, would thank him for his warnings, but would not heed them, and would, of course, regardless of them, proceed with the dive. A massive great white, estimated to be 5 to 6 meters long, emerged from the depths with lightning speed and ferocity. The predator struck Repstock with such force that both man and beast were launched 1 to 2 meters out of the water. The massive white's razor-sharp teeth and powerful jaws would then lock on to Repstock's left leg. The attack was so sudden that Repstock had no time to react or brace himself for the impact. The ocean's surface, which had been calm and inviting just moments before, in what was seemingly a blink of an eye, transformed into a scene of chaos and primal fear. Repstock's companions, including his brother, were now witnessing a horrifying spectacle unfold just meters away. The sight of a gigantic predator with its jaws clamped around Rob's leg. As the shark and Repstock fell back into the water, the force of the impact would separate them. Despite the intensity of the attack, Repstock managed to maintain his consciousness with the aid of a surge of adrenaline, his survival instincts doing everything they can to keep him alive. He then frantically swims back to the boat where his crewmates would carry him on board, their hands trembling with fear and urgency. While the shark disappeared into the depths for a final time, the crew would then assess Repstock's injuries and take note of the blood-stained water around them as they tried to absorb the brutal encounter they just experienced. The crew then cut the anchor rope and raced towards Government Point, where Repstock would receive medical attention at Lompoc Hospital. His injuries would include a deep laceration on his upper thigh and multiple tooth punctures on his lower leg. The wounds were consistent with a white shark attack, with interspace measurements matching those of a 5.8 meter long shark, just like the one Johnson reported to have encountered. Despite the shark's similarity in size, as well as the location of the attack, it was still unclear to investigators whether it was the same shark that attacked both Gary Johnson and Robert Repstock. Research conducted at the Farallon Islands off San Francisco has shown that some white sharks remain within a given home range for varying durations during specific times of the year. In the case of the attacks on Johnson and Repstock, it's therefore very possible that the same shark was patrolling the waters of Point Conception during that fateful week in July of 1975. Robert Repstock, despite his harrowing experience, would make a full recovery and went on to practice law in Santa Barbara after the incident. His story till this day serves as a powerful reminder of the unpredictability of the ocean as well as its inhabitants, and underscores the importance of not just understanding, but respecting the formidability of our ocean's predators. If this episode piqued your interest, then our previous episode about a woman that was taken by a great white shark as she went out for a routine swim on one fateful day is likely to do the same. You can find it on the end screen of this video.